Welcome to We and Lewis, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the remarkable, creative, and energetic people who live in Lewis and are helping our community forge a collective soul as appealing as it is unique. These are their stories and their words. They are the we in Lewis. I'm your host, Kevin McGinnis. Our guest today is Hillary Summerbell, a successful interior designer at a firm just outside of Washington, D.C., an inventor and the creator of a new reading method that helps people suffering from visual dyslexia not just improve their fluency and comprehension, but also their ability to read. Hillary is dyslexic, which made schooling and so much of her daily life painfully difficult and endlessly frustrating. Still, she found a way to be a successful businesswoman and recently used her experience to invent a solution for her disability. It's been tested extensively and found and proven effective. Hers is a story of courage, tenacity, and epic resourcefulness. Today's episode is brought to you by a new podcast partner, our good friends at Lewis Cycle Sports. As many of you know, owners Megan and Brian Kelman have been guests on the podcast and are responsible for one of our more popular episodes. Lewis Cycle Sports is not just our town's local bike shop, but an institution in the community. As I know from personal experience, they take good care of everyone, from novices like me to bike gearheads who proudly parade around in bike shorts and those shoes that click. Steve?
Not in this lifetime.
They have everything bikes, rentals, bikes for sale, repairs, instruction, and gear. They've also organized hundreds of some of the coolest group rides on the East Coast, from the full moon ride that culminates with a beautiful view of the full moon over the Atlantic Ocean to the December light up the night ride through Lewis. An unforgettable, although a bit cold, experience. Find out more via their website at lewiscyclesports.com. Hillary,
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
For those of us who are not familiar with dyslexia, is there one way to bring home what this learning disability can mean in a person's life?
I believe that it changes the trajectory of your life depending on what you would like to accomplish. If you're looking to be educated in different universities and, getting masters and things like that, dyslexia could be very challenging. So I focused on my creativity because I was not very good at school at all.
I think you once said to me that imagine your life if you couldn't read.
Yes, that is pretty much my life. I mean, I know, my children, they read constantly. They're ferocious readers. They've probably read like 10,000 books, and I don't read books. I learn differently. I learn auditorily, and I learn by using my hands.
Well, needless to say, if I couldn't read, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
That is very true.
There are different types of dyslexia, is that right?
Yes. So we have visual dyslexia, and then we have auditory dyslexia. The visual dyslexics, I believe, is the one that is more, it's more common. Let's say maybe 80% of dyslexics have visual dyslexia.
How prevalent is it here in the United States?
Approximately 1 in 5 people.
So that's,
according to the International Dyslexic Association.
So that would translate here to 65 million people?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a lot of people, unfortunately. Well, or fortunately, depends on how you use it.
Now, it impacts a lot of people you would never know have dyslexia, like Albert Einstein, Magic Johnson, Leonardo da Vinci, Steven Spielberg. They have all found ways to get around this disability.
Yes. So have I. I can relate to that. So, if we get straight to Summerbell, it's basically I used graphic organization to reformat linear text in the shape of a rainbow so I could read it. And in my experience, without workarounds, without rethinking, the patterns in the puzzle, I can't accomplish a lot of things that maybe you could accomplish. So I have to think of it differently, like kind of out of the box.
But your discovery did not happen decades ago. It happened recently. Is that right?
2019, June 20th, 2019 or something like that.
And was there a eureka moment? I mean,
Yes.
one moment when you went, oh my God?
Yes. And I was at the cottage with friends, and I'm a TM meditator, so I do a lot of meditation. And I was very frustrated that I was not able to read linear text, and I needed to do an exercise in my mind, or actually preferably written down, about all of the clients that I had and how I was going to navigate their needs for my interior design business. And I drew basically a compass using graphic organization. And then I also realized that if I take text and I put it in a circle, then I can read in a spiral without moving the page.
Can you, when you have what you've written formatted this way, can you see the entire page at once without having to move the paper around as I would have to?
Yes. And it's very comfortable for me to read that way.
So from this moment, and I know you tested it a lot. I know you have reams and reams of papers and examples and trials and error from this moment. But what you ended up doing is basically, help me out here, putting the wording in a half arc, if you will.
It's actually, I would say it's like a 33-degree angle radius. I've actually done, I've looked at it extensively. You could say from like 11 to 2, or maybe even less. So, yes, basically, if you think of a rainbow, it's kind of nice because the rainbow has kind of open-ended. It's kind of like a gracious arc. If it gets too tight, it breaks. So when you read in the arc, you slow down so you have a chance to engage with the words itself. It's basically engaging with the text. And I only know that because a woman who went to Harvard told me that. I said, why did I do this? And she said, you use something called graphic organization to solve your reading program. And because of the arc, it slows you down so you actually engage with the text. Your eyes and your brain engage with the text, because when you're not zipping down the line and skipping over words that you can't decode. That's the other part of the problem of being dyslexic. You don't typically, or I didn't learn how to read phonetically. So if you give me a 4 or 5, 6 syllable word, I have no idea how to even begin to decode it. So that's why we created the word helper.
So you perfected this process.
Yes.
And then you went and got a patent. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
And you didn't get just a patent. You got a process patent,
Yes.
which, as most lawyers know, is the hardest patent to get.
Yes.
How did you pull that off?
Well, I grew up in Washington, McLean, Virginia, and we hung out with, my mother worked for the government, and I knew that there was a system in place to help me because I'm a 4th-generation Washingtonian. And so I just went to the patent office and said, I need help. I'm a citizen of the United States. I pay taxes, and I have an idea that I want to document here. And I literally just kind of, did that. I did that through the Department of Innovation.
Yeah, you stumbled into a program.
I did. It was the Department of Innovation, and it was a face-to-face meetings with an examiner for free down at the patent office in the Old Town Alexandria. So I would go there every Friday afternoon and meet with Albert Wong, the examiner, and he would try to guide me to write a non-provisional patent that I could submit to the patent office.
But to do a patent, you have to do things you have trouble doing.
Oh, yes.
You have to read. Most people have trouble reading legal words anyway. You have to write legal words. You have to be able to read legal words. So how did you get through this process?
Well, my dear friend Jennifer Cho, who lives in LA, we would work together. She would type it all out. We did drawings, and then I would put her on FaceTime, or not FaceTime, yeah, or in the patent office. And so I would print out all the things that I would explain it to her. She would write it, and then I would show it to Mr. Wong, and he would help us. So it was kind of like teamwork. It took me 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah. And it was rejected constantly in the very beginning. And we actually had to go to appeal. So I ended up hiring 2 patent attorneys ultimately to get it through. We have a utility patent, which is basically it's the protecting the original idea. So Summerbell is an original idea, and because I own the patent as an inventor, although I did share a little bit with Jeremy Dunsworth, who was the original software developer for the original Chrome extension, we have basically, in the world of patent world, we have exclusive rights to distribute Summerbell for 15 years in the United States. So it gives me ownership of my idea. And we have 14 patents in 14 different European countries as well.
You've mentioned 2 things. You mentioned a Chrome extension.
Mm-hmm.
So does this mean you can take your method and through the Chrome extension, the words that would appear on a page get reorganized so they fit within your arc?
Yes. So in schools, that's what they use these days. Generally, most of the children use Chrome extensions to get their programs to educate themselves in the K through 12 system. So Summerbell is a program that can be downloaded into a Chromebook and as a Chrome extension, and it can be used and was used for we had a very rigorous study done last year, and the students use the Chrome extension to read in Summerbell, positional arc reading. And we had fabulous results. We had statistical significant improvement in comprehension and fluency.
But in layman terms, what this means is that a person suffering from visual dyslexia can use your method and start to be able to read.
Yes.
This literally is the pathway to reading.
Correct.
It's amazing.
It is. That's why I work so hard for the project, because it is incredible.
So for those who are listening, there's a Chrome extension available, but don't you have an app as well? Is that right?
I do. So we have actually a browser. So it's in the form of an app. You can download it on an Apple product or a Android product, the Google Play console or the App Store. And if you download the app, you can browse the internet and you can in Summerbell. So for example, if you want to read the New York Times in the morning and you prefer to read in Summerbell, you can read the New York Times in Summerbell, or Wikipedia, or the Wall Street Journal. Or you could read about the new, tree that just, blossomed in that at the zoo with the whatever. But you can read anything. It's a browser and it works in almost every language.
And you're not getting any pushback from some of the internet companies about their right to publish their way and so on.
So I would love to create a strategic alliance with Kindle because they have firewalls. There is a free online library that holds 70,000 out of copyright. It's called the Gutenberg Project, I think. So Summerbell works there. But it is a instrumental accommodation for the visual dyslexics, and it's available to use on the worldwide internet.
Now, if someone wants to learn more about where they can find these things, the app, the Chrome extension, and so on, they can go to your website. Is that right?
Yes. Summerbell.com is the website. The Chrome extension is under Summerbell. The app is under Summerbell. So, yes, it's very accessible.
How much does the app cost?
So right now the app costs $9.99.
So for $9.99,
Mm-hmm.
someone could give another person, a child, a grandchild, a pathway to reading.
That is correct. It's incredible.
It's the most amazing gift possible.
It is, and it's instant. If it works, it's instant. So that's the other awesome thing about it, is you can read independently.
Now, when you were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
when someone gave you a book, like in the second grade,
Yeah.
what would you see?
The pictures. And I would see black and white, like things, like drawings, almost like, I always call it like hieroglyphics. I just see black and white images because I didn't learn how to read phonetically, and I didn't learn how to decode a word. So I would learn from memory. Dick and Jane went up the hill, because I had to say it like 100 times. And then I would say, oh, hill is Hill. But it was almost like like Mandarin, I would see the picture. And then I would relate it to the word.
And this continued throughout your entire educational experience. Is that right?
I was not a good student at all. I mean, I was great in art, creativity. It's my superpower. But yeah, I mean, I went through public schools in Fairfax County, ended up at Langley High School. My junior year, I told my mother I couldn't go back because I was basically getting D minuses constantly if it wasn't art. And my mother enrolled me in a school on Chevy Chase Circle off of Western Avenue called the Somerset School, and they taught me verbally for basically my senior year.
And
I graduated from high school.
But you did very well there, if I remember.
I did. I went from like a D student to like an A, B student, but mostly A's.
Did the fact that you couldn't read, that you had such difficulty reading, did it create concerns internally about your own merits, your own
I thought
value?
it was stupid. Yeah. I mean, it was embarrassing. I mean, all my friends did really well, and I didn't. And I didn't matter what I did, I couldn't do better. And they weren't teaching me different. The public school just tried to shove the same information into my brain without teaching me different. They just did it slower, but they didn't teach me different. When I went to Somerset, they taught me differently. We didn't use books, really. We just, he had a book, or the teacher had a book, and there were guidelines, and we talked about it. And it just made the world of difference. And I'm so grateful that my mom was able to help me, because I thought, well, most of us do, is that you're just stupid. Like, you just didn't get the right gene or whatever. So the groovy, the amazing, when I figured out Summerbell, I thought I was like, oh my God, like overnight, my intelligence went from like 0 to, whatever normal intelligence is. I don't even know. Is it 140-ish? I don't know what it is. But like, my self-esteem literally got on a rocket ship because I realized that I could read. I just had to reformat it.
When you were in school, they had nothing. They didn't really know what you were suffering from. They didn't understand it, and they had no real solutions. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it was tutoring. That was the solution, is I got tutored.
To do it again.
And just to go slower. But yes, it was very challenging and it was disheartening and frustrating. And that is why I'm here today talking about Summerbell, because I want to reach elementary school, middle school, and high schoolers as my very first, I don't know what you call it, I guess a campaign, because I want to stop the train. And the train starts moving around first or second grade.
And you just said something that I think is really important. You couldn't read. You had great trouble reading.
Yeah.
You had you couldn't follow along in class.
Right.
And yet you kept getting moved up.
Yes. They kept on giving me like D's. Pretty much. I mean, generally didn't get an F because I showed up, but that was it. Yeah. And they just moved me up the thing. And that's pretty sad because Fairfax County is, known for being one of the best school districts in the country. So they were not able to do it. So if they couldn't do it, then that really puts this 20% of the human population at, risk to not reach their full potential.
If you go to your website, you can see a clinical study that was done to verify the effectiveness of this method.
Yes.
And you get testimonials from teachers who specialize in this area, who talk about using it in their classroom.
Yes.
They're amazing testimonials.
Yep. It works. It just simply works. I mean, why would these teachers who have masters from, American universities say it works if it doesn't work? It works. And why would this leading university in the United States, they did an evaluation and their comments were very compelling. And it works. So that's the really awesome thing about it. It's simple, it's accessible, and it works. And it's my responsibility to stand it up, the company or the software.
Are school systems all around the country like standing outside your door, knocking, saying, "We want this, get this in here"?
Some of them. I mean, I got an email from a superintendent in New Jersey like 4 days ago that said that he wants to use it in his school district. So, it's coming along. It's very interesting because when you have an innovative idea in the educational system, thank God my evaluations are so strong. It's hard for the business as usual community to accept innovation. It's challenging for them because they don't understand it, especially because they didn't create it, because most of them aren't dyslexic, because most dyslexic people don't have PhDs or masters in education. So they're a little confused about how I could have figured it out. I have a little heartburn over that.
Well, I think that's more than understandable.
Because I thought that innovation is the key to the future.
But you're also talking about a fifth of the population.
Exactly. That's a whole other topic.
And I believe you've indicated before that there are correlations between certain groups within our society and dyslexia.
Yes. I mean, there was a study done in Texas that half of the inmates had learning differences. And out of those learning differences, probably, 95% of them were reading differences. And out of that 95%, let's say 75%-ish out of those might have been visual dyslexics. I mean, that's a prison population that's 50%. So that, what is the trajectory if you drop out of high school and 240,000 students a year drop out of high school, and with learning differences in reading? And where do they go? Where do they go? What are they, so some, learn vocational things, some power through, some, do inappropriate things and end up in jail because it's hard. I couldn't get a job at Irish Ice right now because I don't ring registers. I've never literally rung a sale in my business, my interior design business.
Yeah, so you started an interior design business and you worked in that field and in a floral business as well.
Yeah.
How could you run a business? And this wasn't a small business. This was a very successful multi-million-dollar business. How did you run a business if you couldn't take notes, send an email, or write an invoice?
I hired people to do it. I decided I needed to make enough money to hire staff to run the business. And so I just did all the creative stuff. And then the rest of the staff did all of the logistics, like all of the executions, all the invoices, everything. Like my computer is my phone. I owned like 8 desktops, and I didn't even know the passwords to get in them.
So you would always have someone next to you who could
Always.
take notes, who
Always.
could write this
And
down.
still as today. I mean, today's a little different, but when I had all that responsibility, I always had a project manager by my side at all times. Yep.
Now, before you started your business, your interior design business, you were raising a family. Is that right?
Yes, I have 4 beautiful children. I took off 12 years and hung out in the backyard and made gingerbread houses and flower design, and I had my interior design degree, so I always, dabbled in that. I just, took the time and hung out in the garden mostly and cooked. Yeah, it was lovely. It was incredible.
It's fascinating if you read about some of the other people who've come forward and explained they're dyslexic. Steven Spielberg has a fascinating interview where he talks about how that disability pushed him into film.
Yes.
Because he could create and control his own world. He also learned how to read very slowly, but he learned how to read, which he has now said was a real blessing because he takes 3 or 4 times as long to read a script.
Yes.
But he remembers a lot more than the other people on the team who are blowing through them.
Right, because he's reading slowly. And that's the very interesting thing also is this, this concept of neuroplasticity. So if you continue, it's like learning a new language. So if you learn how to read, whether you teach yourself how to read like Steven Spielberg did, or I teach myself how to read using Summerbell positional arc reading, I can read better. Now I can read linear text much better because I have taught myself how to read and how to decode words.
But until 2019.
Forget about it.
Now, when you were driving at times
Yes.
here, you live here in Lewis now full time, but in those days you were driving down from McLean.
Yes.
Could you read road signs?
I just pretty much ignored them. I mean, I knew the way by heart, but when I figured it out, I remember driving like down 16 or whatever it is, and I'd be like going through Ellendale or electric. Like I was decoding the words of the signs, like Denton, Denton. Like I was reading.
So would you stack the word?
I stack them
vertically by syllable.
Yes, much easier. When you do them vertically, when you do them horizontally, they just like run into each other. But when you like put them stacked vertically, they don't. They're like little pods of syllables.
Tell us a little bit about the design business. Because it was a quite well-known operation.
Yes. So if I say one thing today that I would say would be one of the most important things is, everybody has gifts, and all the gifts are always different. The one advantage or the one thing that happened to me was I realized that my creativity was my gift. And so instead of me trying to do things that I wasn't gifted at, like typing and reading and numbers and all that stuff, I just really didn't spend my time doing that. I just spent my time, I knew I was extremely creative, so I spent my time just being creative. And because it was a gift, I knew I couldn't fail because it was like a God gift. So no matter what I touched, it was gifted. And so that's how I built my interior design business. I can see, I'm a visionary, I'm a manifester. What you focus on expands. Your thoughts create your future. There's all of those like things that I do that have, I live a beautiful life. My life is like magical.
And you were very creative in how you problem solved.
Yes, I draw. That's all I do. I take Sharpies and printer paper and I draw. And the thing that when you're dyslexic, you feel like you don't have a gift because you focus on what society says you need to be if you need to be neurotypical. The most important thing is find what you are good at and focus on that, and and learn how to read as well, because that will also help, another layer, and your life will be amazing. Don't get down because people think, or because of this American grade system of D's.
As a parent, you had 4 kids. You came up with different ways to help the children because you couldn't be helping them with their homework.
Correct. I did not do homework. They earned every grade they got. You can guarantee that. So I had 3 kids in 3.5 years. And they just were avid readers. I would buy them encyclopedias and I would put them into bed with, like, you can stay up as late as you want, just keep reading. And they just read. They just read all the time. And they became my human dictionaries. And they helped me. Yeah. So we had violin lessons. We just used other resources to create a whole learning experience with the children.
You started your design company. It was called Sanctuary, I believe.
Yes.
And who were your clients?
Very amazing, creative, smart people who live right in the Bethesda, McLean, a little bit of DC, Vienna. Sanctuary is a very high-end luxury design firm, and most of our projects don't have budgets. So that's super awesome. And so because of that, we can design anything we want, and we do that very collaboratively with all of our clients. And the way that I create design for our clients is every design is individual and completely only for their family. So we just finished this incredible project in Park City, and it's their vibe, their home, and it's 8,000 feet up in the air, and it has the most incredible views of all the mountains. But we also did a home in Chautauqua, New York, which was completely different. And I've done homes in McLean that look like the interior of the White House. So I've been very fortunate, and those friends and clients that I've had have been very active actually in Summerbell and are very interested. And so that's been a wonderful thing. It's very special work, and the clients appreciate it very much.
And is it fair to say it's a little hard to imagine an interior design company like that here in Lewis?
I tried. I think it's possible. But in DC, let's just say I don't know, 30% or 20 or 10% of the clientele use Sanctuary, and here it's probably 0.5% would use Sanctuary. So I think the volume of available clientele is different. So I just work a little bit here. And I actually just did a house on Anglers from Han, who lives in Great Falls, and RF, which is amazing. And it's doing design, interior design is, it's almost like creating spaces for you to love your family in, and using art and music and light and comfort of furniture and gardens to create that environment. So it really is like a feng shui holistic approach to living. And it's multidimensional. So it's dinner parties with candlelight in the most beautiful dining room that you can imagine, but doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be loving and gorgeous.
What brought you to Lewis?
Oh, geez, the water. I love the water. I always came, we were, my mom would go to the beach and whatever. But I live in a 250-year-old cottage on the canal, near the canal. And I love sailing. I grew up sailing on the Chesapeake Bay. And I love sailing. And so I have a sailboat. Her name is Patience. She's getting delivered to Angler's Boatyard on Thursday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. And she's lovely. And she's 40 feet.
Whoa.
And I'm painting her pink. And we're going to do sunset cruises. And I have a Boston Whaler. And I sail with the beer can fleet every Wednesday and Sunday as a crew member on Mystery, which is a beautiful boat. And Dick is the skipper. And why not? Why not?
What is it about sailing that people who love to sail are so much more passionate about it than almost any other sport or activity you can imagine?
Well, first of all, and I have to say this, you can't work on a sailboat. And I've been known to be a workaholic. So that it is really one amazing way to spend time without having the temptation of working. So, because you're fully in nature. Secondly, or actually, I would say that would be the second reason. The first reason really is when you're sailing, there's, first of all, the only noise you hear is the lap of the waves on the boat. You hear the wind in the sails. You're looking at the current. It's a sailboat truly is like, it's an engineering project. So if the mast really acts as a support beam in like a bridge, because the mast is the support, and then you have the cables that stabilize the 60-foot mast inside the boats and the mechanics and the hardware of the boat. So it's really like flying a kite on water. I guess you could say that, but it is the most serene experience because you surrender to the wind and the current, but you are fully immersed in the process of nature and as she unfolds on the water.
And you're not staring at charts, you personally. You're not staring at charts. For you, sailing is how you can feel it. It's intuitive.
Totally intuitive. And I love being intuitive, and that is a gift as well. And when you are sailing, it is all about being intuitive. If you really can surrender to the nature, it's incredible. Everybody should go sailing, and you can go on my boat because I want to do sailing lessons as well, but non-paper sailing lessons. Just with the captain.
How do you do charts?
Oh, I mean, I look at the numbers. I mean, you see them. You have to. Well, I mean, it's complicated because you've got numbers like swirling all over the place. But you have, I mean, you do have like different colors, with the water and the land, and it's hard. It's hard. The charts are hard, and the compasses and getting the trajectory. I mean, like it's tough. I took a sailing class and I wanted to audit it. I didn't want to get a score. I didn't want to be tested. I just wanted to understand. So,
well, I assume taking a written test is not your favorite activity. Is that right?
It's the death march. It's terrible. It's the worst. I just don't do it. I never even got normally to be a designer, you have to take a test called ASID, which puts you in this category. I never took the test, but I had the projects. So it didn't really matter ultimately because you had the portfolio.
Looking at your career, you're constantly finding workarounds. You're constantly finding new and innovative solutions to the problems as they arise. Did this sort of experience or training, if you will, help you when you realized that you had Summerbell Reading Method, this idea, this concept about how the hell you're going to take that concept and turn it into a reality?
Yes. It's a process. When you look at a problem, you can be very efficient about how you would solve that problem, or you could be very disorganized about how you could solve that problem. So I'm very focused on being efficient and organized in my problem solving. And it comes out in my entrepreneurism and everything. I look at puzzles, like I see things in my mind. So I see, like when I sail, I see a triangle. You know, I mean, I see two, maybe three triangles. I see the boat as a triangle, the Genoa as a triangle, and the mainsail as a triangle. And then the wind just becomes one force and the current is one force. So really there's only 5 elements. So I see it in 3D.
But for most people who start a business, the idea of going to the patent office is intimidating.
Yes.
You found a way that you didn't know about, but you found a way to work around it with this special program.
Yes.
And then you got validated.
That was so cool.
How did you pull that off?
Oh, the validation in that study? Oh, geez. Just connections. I've let it, they say, I don't know if it is a connection thing. I call them my friends. They're just my people. They're the circle of people, But we put the word out, and they came to us, which was fun. Was pretty awesome. I didn't have to go knocking on their door. They came to me. So that was amazing. And it's just some things are very important, and some things you need to focus on for the good of helping others and being in service. And this is a service project. This is out of self into others. I think the reason that it is me is because I take time very seriously, and I'm not wasting it. I'm not wasting my time on this planet, and I never have. So.
And are you a little bit of a unicorn in that you have dyslexia and you're coming up with solutions, as opposed to a lot of the people who traditionally are working on this issue, but they don't have the disability. They don't know what's all of the things that are involved.
They don't see what we see. That's the frustrating part for them. And it's too bad. Like the PhDs who come to me and say, how did you figure this out? I'm like, how could I not figure it out? This is what I'm dyslexic. You're not. I'm sorry, but I just think that because I'm dyslexic, and there are some people that are dyslexic that have created some solutions for sure. And that's great. And the more, the more the better. We're not competitive. We're integrative. We're collaborative. Summerbell is a collaborative program. It can be used with other tools. I mean, it's my responsibility to help others. And if I figured something out that will help other people, I have no choice but to go to the patent office. Literally. I have no choice to hire people and ask for angel investors and, build software. I literally have no choice, like, honestly. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing it.
If you had a magic wand.
Yeah. Yep.
What would you want to see in our educational system?
I think every first grader, second grader needs to be shown Summerbell, positional arc reading. And they need to be, looking at it with their teachers and see if they like it better than linear text. Just see. It's a yes or no. Either you like it or you don't. But if they're introduced to it in second grade or first grade as a screener for visual dyslexia, which was mentioned in the evaluation, that could be a game changer. So that's what if I could wish one thing, it would be that. And then it would help, you would understand your child that you're trying to teach, whether it's your child or your teacher. And then knowing that, you could transform their written word, their text, into Summerbell so they can read it. And it would make their life so much easier.
And if you can find this out at a second grade level, that young person could actually begin to read.
Game over. I mean, why can't they could go to college the same. They could read. They could be you. They could be a lawyer. They could be a lobbyist. They could be anything because they can read. Or they could be a creative and a linear. They could have both parts of their brains working simultaneously at a high level, which would also be like super awesome superpower. Yeah.
And I know, I'm sounding a bit like a broken record, but I just can't believe for $9.99 for a complete stranger, you could give the gift of reading.
You can. And you can download the app. You can have it, like right now, we're just building it. The app is all yours for $9.99. And we're just spreading the word, and we're just making it accessible. And so if you would like to do that, please do it. And you can give the gift of reading, like as you suggested, where you can do a stipend of cash and, and hook it up. We'll figure it out.
And again, they can reach out to you.
Yeah.
Through
Hillary at summerbell.com. Or my cell phone number, because people answer cell phones these days too, I feel like the best executives, 202-409-4092. Text me. Why not? Why not? I'm proud of the work that we have done as a community in Summerbell. This project has taken a village, and there are many, many people who have contributed and supported Summerbell. I mean, if I had to just make a list, I would say there would be probably 200 people or more. And then there's different layers of circles within those layers of people. And some people are closer to Summerbell than others. But I would say without the village, I wouldn't be here today. So and so I have a deep gratitude for those individuals who have helped us.
And if you haven't done it, obtaining a patent is not cheap.
Oh, no. That's why we need the angel investors. Yeah. It's very expensive.
And building an app is not cheap.
Yes.
And the minute you build it, you're told it's obsolete. It has to be redone, has to be improved. It's constantly having to be developed. So you found two of the most expensive business activities.
It's insane. I mean, I want to say the patent work has been over $400,000. And I think that software development has been maybe the patent work's 500. And the software development, it's easily been $250,000 or more. Yep. Everything costs money. And people need to put food on their table. So you got to pay them to help you. So I get that, But yes. Yes. It's only money. There's plenty of it around here. You have to figure it out. Ask the people who want to give.
But because of the money you've put into this project, because of what you've developed, the solution is, on an individual basis, cheap.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, $10.
Have you ever thought about what your life would be like if this had existed when you were in second grade?
Yes, I would. I think I would, honestly, for me, it would be more the emotional trauma that I experienced, feeling less than, that would be eliminated. I think that was probably the saddest part of being dyslexic and having a learning difference is, for some reason, you get this internal message that you're not good enough and you're not smart enough. And so I would say that my self-esteem from the time, I've always had good self-esteem in the creative field, but I would say the moment that I could read, like when I was 56 years old or 55, that was the moment that my self-confidence literally probably scooched up about 100 points, because I could read the word electric. I could sound it out, or epiphany. Any of those big words, I could read them, and I just didn't feel stupid anymore. So that's the gift of Summerbell, is you can give the gift of reading, but not only that, you can build the self-esteem of the person who thought that they could never read when actually they can read. You just had to meet them at their level instead of asking them to be neurotypical. Summerbell provides a neurodiverse solution, and it's a civil rights topic. It's our civil right to be educated, no matter who or how or what's going on. That's a civil right in the United States of America. American Disability Act, it's called IDEA, 1975. A dyslexic is identified dyslexic generally when they fall below grade level. So in the second, third grade, the classroom starts, the gap begins. And so the neurotypical students go on third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade reading levels, all the standardized tests that they give you twice a year, 3 times a year. Those are, a dyslexic goes, let's say they're in fourth grade, they're reading at a second grade level. Let's say they're in fifth grade, they're reading at a second grade level. When they're, my daughter, I remember Alex was in third grade, she was reading at a 12th grade level. Me, I was probably in 12th grade reading at a fifth grade level, sixth grade level maybe. So yes, that is where the rubber meets the road. When a dyslexic falls below grade level, the school system has it's the law that they come in and they make accommodations to teach those kids. That's why the university that studied Summerbell calls it, it's a accommodation. It's an instrumental accommodation. So it goes under an accessibility category.
And Summerbell is a fairly economic
Yeah.
solution to comply with the law.
Yes. So it's been recommended that Summerbell is distributed in public schools in America. Yes. And I think one day it will. How can it not? If it works.
Hillary, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me share my story.
And more importantly, thank you for what you're doing. It's a triumphant story of courage and perseverance. Imagine again, with $10, you can help someone learn to read. Again, what is your website?
Summerbell.com.
It's summer now in Lewis, and a great time to enjoy everything that's available outdoors. I hope you'll take advantage of all Lewis Cycle Sports has to offer and the numerous activities they help make possible. They are on the beach side of town, just off Savannah Road, very close to you, Hillary. And thank you for listening. This podcast has been great fun for Steve and me, and if we're honest, we're really pretty amazed that over 10,000 people have tuned in. And we're just getting started. From our recording studio here in the middle of downtown Lewis, which I guess most people think of as the bar at Kindle. Till next time, this has been We in Lewis, the podcast.